Hey, what is going on? Yeah, so excited about tonight. Yes. So, welcome. Let me pull up my phone here. I'm gonna be checking out your comments and watching. Let's see, we are live. And so I'm really excited about this because I just think it's going to help a lot of people. And so I was telling our rank makers this morning, I'm like, look, we're going to put this thing on. I think it'll help a lot of people. Two parties in particular, people who have a home-based business, going to probably learn some stuff. But people who do not have a home-based business, and including those who maybe have lost their job or been laid off, or I just know that there's so many more people that are affected. I mean, with huge hotels closing down, with every event on planet Earth closed down, with so many people that are not able to work. And so, a lot of us that work from home are kind of just busier than ever, but those who are not able to work from home are, some of them I think maybe a little concerned, a little frustrated possibly. And so I'm really excited about tonight. Before we get started, where's my stuff? I want to give away some stuff before I bring out my fantastico guest here. I'm always my wife, she comes in here and she's like, I make it nice, but then I lose everything that I ever are looking for. All right, hold on one second. Oh my God, I can't find it. Okay, so let me give away some stuff first. We watch and my friend Kat actually pointed this out, but we watch Google Trends of what people are actually searching for, and the whole make money from home, I mean, it has skyrocketed. I mean, it has ratcheted up. Like, I think it's now at like 10x of what it was. And so many people are looking to make money from home. And if you're trying to make money from home, I mean, you kind of need to learn social media. So I want to give away a few of these books. So we have our book, The Freakishly Effective Social Media for Network Marketing, How to Make Money on Social Media from Home. And so I want to give away a few of those. All right. Okay, let me write down some names because I don't have my second phone with me tonight. Don't have it with me. And if you have people you would like to invite, feel free to share, feel free to tag someone. Because I think you're in two camps right now. You're either very much affected by, yes, I just realized I'm holding my daughter's pen here. So you're very much affected and we want to help you out. So you're either very much affected or you have friends that are affected and by what's going on. And I do mean financially. I'm saying affected, not infected. I hope that everyone is safe and healthy, but I am specifically talking about affected by the what's going on right now. So let me write down some names. So Stacia Schmidt, I saw you. Thank you. Saw some stars coming my way. Very nice. Sherry Becker, or is it Cherie? It's probably Cherie, I'm guessing. Cherie Becker, maybe. Leslie K, who is the proud owner of the Mini Ray from Rank Makers Live. Let me see here. Let me see. Angelina Johnson. All right. So all of you, I am going to, let me just take a picture for my peeps here. And already 1,400 on. That's so cool. Welcome. Let me just take a quick pic and send it to my team. So if I read your name, shoot an email to support@higdongroup.com and they will mail you out that book, our social media book. And let's just jump right into it. All right. So we won't, no more dilly dally, no more goofing arounds. Social media book.
All Everybody loves your pen.
I know. I like shook it and I'm like, oh, my, you know what? It was the cutest thing on the planet where, so the other day I walked by my office and I look and Sabrina Bear was, typing away on my laptop, which is terrifying, my 4-year-old daughter. And I said, baby, what's going on here? Hey, easy. And she goes, what? And I'm like, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm just trying to be like you. I'm like, oh, just tap away.
Right.
And so, so
Let
anyway,
me get
let's,
you a computer.
what's that?
That's what you should have said. Let me get you a computer. You can see
That's
right.
right. That's right. That's right. So let me introduce my, all right, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to set it down. She does have another pen here. What would a unicorn do? Frolic majestically, or pose on a windy cliff. See, this is my life now. Everywhere I go, there's toys, there's Barbies, there's craziness, and probably much like you on here. So I want to introduce my guest. My guest here, and this will be either, I'm going to definitely at least my second, maybe my third time having her on. And just so helpful, is an absolute tax expert, works with a lot of people with home-based business, has an incredible track record. And I don't have like her official bio, but I can tell you that she is amazing. She's been on every major stage on planet Earth, and she is just a world-renowned tax specialist. And I know that there will be people on here from other countries. I get that. She is not a global tax expert, I don't believe. I don't believe she knows the Uzbekistan or the Kazakhstan tax code. But so she will, what she is talking about tonight, we'll talk about the United States. I know that that does apply and in some other places, but figure out someone in your area. Now, before you're like, oh God, taxes, no, right? Before you go there, she is not boring. She's actually quite exciting. She has a great easy way to deliver how you can get help right now. And if you are someone that's displaced, if you've someone that has lost your job, I truly don't think there's a smarter move than what she's going to tell you to do tonight, because it will put thousands of dollars in your pocket. It will help you out, whether you ever want to build a business or do anything or whatever. And so, and I'm gonna grill her on some things, but I'd like her with all this. Courtney Epps. Courtney, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
Good. You're like oddest introduction ever. So, Courtney, give them. I know you a lot of. I know a lot of my audience knows you. What tell them a little bit about your background, because I know you have a very extensive background in this, and let's hear it.
Yeah, so I have been an accountant for the last 19 years. And honestly, for the longest time, I tried not to be an accountant. I tried to be everything but, because it was boring. I mean, really, let's face it, who wants to spend 100 hours a week working January through April 15th and, not seeing anybody? So, for those of you that are stuck in your house in quarantine, I didn't even realize we had a quarantine, because all I do is sit in my house, or now in my office, 18 to 20 hours a day, January through April. So it's super crazy. So a little bit of background. I'm from, if you can't tell by my accent, I'm
New
originally
York,
from
right? New
New
York.
York City. Yep. New
Yeah.
York City. Right. No, I'm from South Carolina, and Greenville, South Carolina is where I live now. And we have an accounting practice here, and we have clients all over the country. So we work with our smallest client, just started, in network marketing, or just started in business, to all the way to $120 million a year in income for clients. So we do everything from real estate to chiropractors to plastic surgeons to, mortgage brokers, home-based business, speakers, coaches, trainers, you name it. That's what we work with. And I specialize, I guess I like to call myself a motivational tax strategist, because I like to give people motivation along the way and
Nice.
tax strategy. But I love freeing up money for people, because people need the information that I'm sharing. And it wasn't something I learned in college. It wasn't something I learned by going to continuing education classes. It was something I learned along the way by being an entrepreneur and learning how to save my own self money over time.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I feel like every occupation should have I'm the motivational plumber, I'm the motivational roofer, and they're just out
Exactly.
there like quoting, Jim Rohn or something. I mean, wow, that guy's really amazing. So I get goofy. I warned you. I told you I get goofy. And so first, I want to focus in on what I think is a really major problem right now which is, my heart's just breaking for so many people. I mean, I realize that, everything's like shut down, right? And, the governor of Florida just said it's a, 30-day, stay at home deal. And so like for the person that's on here that, whatever, 3-4 weeks ago or whatever, had a job, everything was fine. They were going there punching a clock, making their money, coming home, whatever, everything was okay. Now they're in trouble. And so I know that at least I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe every American that falls under a certain income will receive the $1,200, check, or maybe it's every American, I don't know, but
Yeah.
they get the $1,200, and sure, hey, that's nice, right? That is nice for sure. But what for the person that has never even desired to have like a business, or they do the simplest of tax things, they get their tax check back every year. They aren't a network marketer, and in fact, maybe they hate network marketing. But what would you suggest for those kind of people? What can they do? Because we were talking, I think last week, and you had some suggestions. But what can that person do? Lost their jobs, no more income, not sure what they're going to do. What in your world might help them?
Okay, so I'm gonna just be real and honest with you guys. The system before the pandemic, it was broken. 46% of Americans did not have an extra $400 to their name, and 69% of Americans didn't have an extra $1,000 to their name. And
Mm,
so that leads us to, what is going on. And so the reason why I'll share with you why I was so passionate about what I share every single day is how to free up money by having some sort of business and guaranteeing to save yourself $4,000 to $8,000 a year. Is I heard some statistics that really hit me hard a couple years ago, and it was by Grant Cardone, and it said that the average household income in America was $60,000 a year. And I knew that, but what I didn't know is kept going further. They pay on average of $14,000 a year in taxes. So that means that their take home in America is $46,000 a year. So you're making 60, you're paying 14 in taxes that you don't have any chance of getting out of, because the average American is a W-2 employee. And then so the take home's 46, but the cost of living in America is $53,000 a year. So that means that
like, is that for, you mean like for a family, or like
for a, for a
what,
family.
for
So
two people? Two?
it's two-parent household is what it's considered. So a family of four, the household is going in debt $7,000 a year to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, to take 2 weeks paid vacation.
Wow.
And that really hit me hard. I literally stopped. I was in Tampa, Florida, and I was on my way to actually go meet a friend of yours, I think Jake Kevorkian. And
Nice.
I stopped and I said, you know what? I'm the only accountant that's actually been in a home-based business. And I saw that I could take someone who was a W-2 employee by themselves last year and turn them into a W-2 employee with a home-based business and save them on average of $4,000 to $8,000 a year. And I'd done 900 tax returns at that point in time for people who were W-2 employees last year. And then they became W-2 employees with a home-based business. And I picked up the phone and I started sharing with high income, not even high income earners, but high influencers, and saying, hey, what do you think? I want to share this with people. And so that's how I became passionate about it, because I didn't see it as a way to make extra money for me. I saw it as a way that I have to change the world. I have to share with people, what I know and what I've seen from experience, and what I'm trying to get, and I hope to give you guys hope today. I want you to understand that, the system. There's 2 tax systems in our country. There's one that was created for the W-2 employee. That system was literally created to steal your wealth away. And whether you believe me or not, you can go look it up. You can read the tax code if you want. That's perfectly fine. And I want you to do that. But there's that one system that was created for the W-2 employee. Then the second system was created for business owners. And so business owners, we get massive tax deductions and tax decreases and credits for creating economy. So we're the ones out working, and not to say you're not working at all. If you are a W-2 employee, please understand I'm in no way knocking you. What I want you to understand is the difference in the tax code. So business owners create. Go ahead.
Let me jump in just for a second. Two things I want to clarify. One, neither of us are pitching a home business opportunity tonight, just so you're aware. So I am a trainer and coach. I am not a part of any particular company. So there is no join our thing right now. That is not going to happen. If someone shared this with you or invited you, you could, feel free to get back with them and ask them. Maybe they're in a home-based business. So that's number one. And number two is, you're not talking about, joining a business and you have to go and work that business. You're just saying like being part of a home business, not having to invent something like on Shark Tank, or not having to, convert your basement to something. Like, you're just saying like being able to have a home-based business allows you these different tax breaks.
Yes. Or be an accountant. You could go to school for 5 years like I did and become an accountant.
That's one way.
That is one way. So, that second system that is for business owners, we create economy, we hire employees. And so you have to understand that if we had to pay the same taxes as W-2 employees, and then we had all of our overhead, we had employees to pay for, there would be no extra money. So there would be no advantage of being a business owner. So what happens is someone has to pay the taxes, and the taxes trickle down to the W-2 employees. And what was really earth-shattering to me, and probably brought all of this home, is I had a couple that came to me last year. They came to my house because I was actually working from our house up until September. We had 13 employees plus our 6 kids that we homeschooled and my husband all in the same house. It was super crazy.
Wow.
But it was nice. It was great. I was able to write off a ton of things and still do that. But so I had this couple come in, and the husband was making $85,000 a year, and the wife was making $55,000 a year. And so collectively,
above average, according to the
completely above average.
Right.
And so what happened is, combined, they were making $140,000 a year. And what happened, both of them had gotten new jobs. And so they had gone from $105,000 to $140,000, which was a $35,000 a year pay increase.
Sounds like a huge win.
Yeah, huge win. So you would think. And so they wanted me to tell them how much money they were going to have to pay in taxes. And it turned out that they were going to end up bringing home $13,000 of the $35,000. And they were shocked. I was shocked, only because I had not ran the scenarios. And I said, you know what? While you're here,
that's because it bumped them into the next tax bracket, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, put them in a higher tax bracket, took away all of their deductions that they were entitled to take. So as you make more money as a W-2 employee, you lose all of, like, child tax credit, earned income credit, you lose your, standard, your itemized deductions. So, so I said, while you're here, what if we determined, because they wanted to start having children. And I said, what if one of you stayed at home? If we took away the $55,000 a year paycheck, what would that generate? And we determined that they were only bringing home an additional $21,000 out of the $55,000, which was $1,800 a month. And, to me, I told them, I said, what I knew about the home-based business industry, network marketing, affiliate marketing, direct sales, whatever. I said, if you could just find something and work from home, find a home-based business, something you're passionate about, something you can just open your mouth up and tell people about, you could generate $1,000 a month, have $20,000 to $30,000 in tax deductions on your living expenses. So I'm not talking about spending money that you don't have. I'm talking about redirecting the living expenses that you're already spending money on, your meals, your mileage, your cell phone, internet, business use, your home, all these things become their living expenses yesterday. If you were a W-2 employee, they become business expenses today when you're attempting to earn an income. And so I said, if you just made $1,000 a month, you would be better off having that $1,000 a month than you would the $55,000 a year paycheck. And not to mention, and you know it as well as I do, Ray, when you're out and about, hey, let's run by Starbucks. Hey, let's get some lunch. Hey, let's do
Sure.
all these
Yeah.
things.
Other costs. Yeah.
And and then you have childcare. I had a client this week that
Right.
is, yeah, I had a client this week that's spending $26,000 a year in childcare on 2 kids. I'm like, what's the point? What's the point?
Yeah. So, couple things. One, I love it that you said, and just to be very, very clear, because I know um, there's a varied audience on tonight. there are people that are very, very pro home business, and there's some people that have never been anything around home business. And so we want you to understand that we are not job bashers. If you love your job, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong. And sometimes network marketers, I think, really screw this up because they'll hear something like this and be like, why would you have a job? And they become job bashers. And hey, some people really love their job. So that's great. I think, if you love your job, teacher, police officer, firefighter, or whatever. Who am I to judge? Donut maker, candlestick maker, whatever, butcher baker. So if you love your job, then awesome. Nothing wrong with that. This is not about, hey, you should, stop that thing and do this thing. You're saying, and I think we'll talk more about that, is you're saying that if you just had a home-based business completely part-time or hardly any time, just the fact that moves you to the different tax code and unlocks a whole bunch of stuff for you. So let's say someone's on here and maybe they are waiter, waitress, bartender, hotel manager, flight attendant, musician, whatever, and they have, just lost their job. What would your suggestions be? What would be the steps?
Well, here's what I'll tell you that, I see people every single day who are making, the average person who's making $100,000 a year as a W-2 employee has an extra $250 a month in expendable income. And the reason why is because we are working based on, or we're borrowing money, we're spending money based upon our gross income, which is something that we never get. And so what I want you to understand is that, and Ray is exactly right. We are not in any way bashing W-2 employees.
Right.
I would love to be able to give the opportunity. I talk to my employees every single day about the exact same thing that I'm sharing with you guys. I want them to find some sort of home-based business, because you could literally take 3 to 5 hours a week, and the code says if you spend 45 minutes a day, 3 to 5 days a week in attempting to earn an income, then you're entitled to these tax deductions. So, the great part about it is if you did just lose your job, guys, what I'm trying to share is hope that the money that you think you're making, you're not really making, only because of the taxes, because of the money that's going into 401k. And I'm not even going there today, but if you can take your money out, it might be a good time. But all of these things add up. So you're spending money going out to breakfast every morning, lunch, Starbucks, you're too tired to cook supper. And, so you stop by and pick up takeout and bring that home. So the extra expenses that get added into having a job, much less, there's a lot of people out here today that have 2 and 3 jobs to try to make ends meet. But what they don't realize is if they just had a home-based business and were attempting to earn an income, 3 to 5 hours a week, they would be better off than having the second or third job, or maybe even that first job. So, and then on top of that, and I think Ray is probably right here with me, I mean, you guys work from home. My husband's a stay-at-home dad. He's also the CEO of our company, and our office now is about 2 miles away from our home. And I would much rather be at home working with them. And I take every opportunity that I can to be with them. But right
Correct.
now is a great opportunity
Yeah.
if your kids are at home.
Yeah.
Your kids are at home. They're not going back to school anytime soon. It doesn't look like. What better way than to take a couple $100 of this stimulus money, start a business that can completely and utterly change your life. And maybe you might decide not to go back to work.
Right. So, couple of things I want to bring up. So, this whole time, you've been saying attempt to make money.
Yeah.
And so, I've had people say that, like when I tell them, hey, if you're in a home-based business, you can write that stuff off. And they'll say things like, well, I'm not making any money. And I think that I think people believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think people believe that if they're in a home-based business or attempting, whether it's network marketing or whatever else, right? Affiliate marketing or whatever else, if they're in it but not making money, they don't get any tax write-offs. But you're saying that's not true, I believe.
Right. That's not true. And there's a myth, and I heard the same one in college, and I went back and actually read the tax code that says, a lot of you have heard the 3 out of 5 year rule, that you can't, have a loss more than 3 out of 5 years. Well, Amazon last year made $11.2 billion and they paid $0 in taxes because they showed a loss. Walmart pays on average of 0.12% in taxes, whereas the average household pays 40%. The difference between, go ahead.
And I just want to point out, so when people hear that, because like politicians use that stuff all the time, look at these corporate fat cats and let's tax the hell out of them. And what people don't understand is, I mean, last time I heard, Amazon had 600,000 employees. So if you monkey with that and you say, all right, y'all got to pay your share, then bye jobs. Yeah. And so like all these families are now sitting at home, wish I was working for Amazon.
Yes.
And so like you got to understand that the politicians are puppeteering you. And because when they say things like, oh, they're hardly paying any taxes, it's because they invest so much in employees and employee programs and benefits and all kinds of other stuff. And I mean, do you agree with that? Am I in the right ballpark there?
That is so true. And last year or 2018, they bought a ton of vehicles so that they could replace their shipping cost and take that in-house. I mean, it's just smart. So, Congress just wants you to treat your business as a business. So if you are out there sharing with people what you're doing, and what does that look like? I mean,
because I'm sure some people are like, oh, I gotta like do stuff for 3 to 5 hours a week. This blows. Like I'm sure some people are like, oh God, here we go. Right. So what does that actually mean? Like what would one have to show that they've done to be able, and I'm gonna give you like some exact examples. So let's say that average ordinary home, let's say that family of 4, and let's just say they're right in the numbers that you're talking about. Like, let's say they bring home $60,000. So $60,000 for the household, 2 kids, parents. So $60,000. And let's say that they pay $1,000 to join a home business, join a whatever network marketing company, or they buy equipment for a podcast or whatever. They're investing $1,000 into a home-based business. What would that equate to? Like, what would that equate to tax savings wise? Like, what might that work out? Am I allowed to do that kind of question with you? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to save between $350 and $400. So, when I look at
1 month of the investment, or like, what do you mean?
So that $1,000, they're going to save, between roughly 35%. But on top of that, so now, okay, I'm in business. So I pick up the phone and I call Ray. This is how it looks. I mean, this is truly, just to tell you how it looks. I pick up the phone and call Ray. I just decided I've joined a company today, or, I don't care what it is. And I say, hey, I'm just want to share something with you. Well, used to 2 weeks ago, we could go to lunch together, but let's just say we're 2 weeks ago and we're going to lunch. or maybe we're just in a Zoom room. So I'm going to get in my car, or I'm going to, sign up for Zoom because I can write that off too. That's an office supply. And I sit down and I talk to Ray and I tell you, I say, Ray, I'm excited about it. I want to share with you what I'm doing. And you may say, you know what, Courtney, I love it. Like, this is what I've been looking for. Or you may say, you know what, I love the product or the service that you're offering and I'm going to buy that. Or you could say, Courtney, I think you're straight up going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you could say
You're the
either
devil.
right. But the thing is I don't care what you say. It's
Yeah.
just my job to share it with you. So, and in my situation, it's taxes. Like, I'm going to talk to you about taxes, and I am passionate about it. You can tell I'm passionate about it. I talk about it all the time. And it's funny how I end everything with, and it's a tax deduction, So, so I sit down, you tell me you're in or you're not, that's fine. And then I'm going to explain to you why it's important to me. Not only can I find ways to make an extra stream of income, I get some amazing products, especially, at a much better price. And then I'm saving money in taxes. And so I get to write off. And right now, Congress is literally trying to pass a bill that allows you 100% tax deduction on meals to get restaurants back up and going, which is great for business owners.
Business owners, right?
Yes, for business owners. So, if I go meet you at a restaurant and I talk to you about what I'm doing, then I get to write off my meal. You, as a W-2 employee, don't get to do that. So I'm immediately making more money. So then I get back in my car, I get to ride 58 cents a mile, or I get to depreciate my entire car. So last year I bought a Suburban. That Suburban was $65,000. It was 100% tax deduction the day I bought it. Now, I didn't spend $65,000 that day. I don't even think we paid a down payment. But the fact that I signed my name on the paperwork, that entitled me to a $65,000 deduction on my car. That saved me 20 grand in taxes that day.
So that back to that household, let's just run the scenario because there is ongoing costs, right? So let's say someone joins a network marketing company. Let's say it's a health and wellness company. They spend, let's say, $1,000 to get started. So month $1,000, and each month $150.
Yes. So
what would the average person? So because I've heard you explain this in a way where it's like it actually costs you money not to buy the $150.
Yes.
Like you literally spend the $150 and you actually are bringing home more than $150, whether you ever sell a bottle or a flask or a vial or a whatever. Talk to me about that, because I think that's where people don't understand.
Yes. So when I was involved in network marketing, and that's years ago, I would pick up the phone and call my team and say, look, you can either spend $100 on you this month, or you can pay $400 in taxes. Like, legitimately, that's the way it works. So on average, you're going to save, by having a home-based business, $400 to $700 a month, depending on where you are as far as your tax bracket goes.
And how much of that is are things that people are already spending?
Yes.
Like, are we creating hey, if you spend another $1,000, are these things, like, give me some examples. What are some example write-offs that W-2 employee you don't get, but if you just had a home-based business, you could write these things off? What are some of the common ones that would add up to what you're saying?
Yes. So mileage, that's a huge one, 58 cents a mile. The average person, will spend about 5,000 miles that they could write off as far as a business expense. So that's a huge deduction. Then you've got your cell phone, because you've got to use your cell phone in order to call and talk to people about it, or you got to use it for Facebook or social media or whatever.
Right.
Then you've got internet. So that's a tax deduction. You've got business use of your home. So, when I go home and I have an office in my home, I can write off a percentage of my house. I can also write off my swimming pool. So that's an even bigger deal because I have employees, but my employees are my children. So you can hire your kids to work for you. You can, all the things that you're currently spending today become tax deductible when you have a home-based business. So you've got the just the generic ones that you're already using, laptops. Let's say need to buy a new laptop. I need to buy a new phone. Those are things that become office supplies when you have your own home-based business. So it's not like you're spending a ton more money. You pay your auto ship, which almost every company has some sort of auto ship. And because you're paying that and you're sharing with people what you're doing, you could suck at sales. I mean, there are people that really try hard and they try to sell and they try to talk to people and share with people what they're doing. And they could show you their calendar all day long on what they've been doing, but
Right.
they may not be good at selling. But the sheer attempt to sit down or to share through social media, to share through picking up the phone and calling somebody, or to
Hand out a flyer,
yeah, whatever.
post something on social media. I mean, it's and that's why I wanted to focus on, because I think so many people are wrapped around the, well, I don't know how to sell, I don't know how to make money. I mean, even if you went around saying, hey, you wouldn't want to buy this stuff, would you? I mean, if you literally just attempted to talk people out of buying it, but you at least brought it up, I mean, I
Yes.
think that falls under. Now, how do you, I mean, how does anybody track that, or how are they, you know, how would they not be worried about the IRS saying, hey, did you really try to build your business? Like, what's the scrutiny? Like, do you keep logs? Like, how does that work?
Well, the biggest thing, I mean, keeping track is great. If you have a calendar, you're writing on it, you know, what you're doing, whether you are marketing on social media, you know, whether you're making phone calls, you know, I would keep
I mean, if it's
track.
on social media, it's actually
It's
there. I
pretty
mean, you have a
easy. Yeah.
log, you know, it's
Pretty,
there.
pretty easy to track on
Yeah.
social media. If you're picking up the phone and calling people
Right.
and you just wrote it down, I mean, you could track all of this very easily through electronics right now. But the other part of it is keeping track of your expenses. You know, you can go as far as having a separate bank account, but you don't have to. And see, that's the benefit of getting started. As you start making more and more money, then yeah, you may want to separate some things out. But you know, when you are going, and I'll give you a prime example, you know, when everybody gets to finally go out to eat again, if I pick up the phone and call Ray and say, hey, Ray, why don't you bring Jessica and your kids, and I'm going to bring Brandon and my kids, and let's talk business, us going out to eat together, we can actually write off 50% of every one of us, because it's considered that your wife and your children are there to, you know, have conversations with my husband and my children. And so they can keep each other occupied while we talk business.
Yeah.
So,
So literally just eating out the same exact patterns,
yes.
you would say you would be able to write that off.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of every angle here. And there are a couple questions. I'll jump into the questions here in a second. The, so like, if you've been a W-2 employee and never had a home-based business, this is probably maybe a little bit of information for you, because you've never like had deductions or anything. So what would the average person do instead of just whatever, what are those things called? Like TurboTax or whatever, or does TurboTax track this kind of thing? Like what could people do? How would they file their taxes differently? And is that the catch? Is it like, oh, it's now $10,000 to do my taxes? This is crazy. What's the difference here between the basic, I'm just W-2, just here's my paperwork, to I'm a little bit more sophisticated now, or at least my taxes are a little more sophisticated? What's the cost difference there, maybe on average or something?
There's not a whole lot of difference on TurboTax or, you know, the home versions. Prepare yourself, maybe 50, $60. You know, if you had someone, just kind of, for instance, us, you know, we charge the
Sure.
same set price. Like we charge $600 for a personal tax return with a business. We charge $250 for a personal tax return. So, you know, I mean, there's always like the just a W-2, you know, it might be 50, $75 or something, but there's not a whole lot of difference, but the difference in the amount of money you bring home. We just for example, we had a lady a couple weeks ago. She was told the same thing. She could not write off her business expenses because she hadn't made any, you know, substantial amount of money. And I said, that's not true. Here's the tax code. Let me show it to you. And we did her tax return. although she paid us $600, which was about $300 more than she was going to get somebody else to do it with just a W-2, we ended up saving her $2,900 more dollars. So, and the 600 is a tax deduction. See, legal and professional fees are tax deductible
Right.
if you're in business. So,
Right. Got it. Got it. Yeah, and that's awesome. And what is, so taxes got pushed back this year, right? So
yes.
tell us a little bit about that.
So everything is due now as far as even the tax returns. You can file an extension on July 15th if you can't make that deadline, but the estimated taxes are not due until July 15th. If you wanted to make late elections on IRAs, you could do that July 15th and then filing your taxes by July 15th. And then if you don't get it done by then, you would just need to file a 6-month extension.
Okay. So I'm trying to make this very, very simple. So the person W-2 doesn't have a home-based business. What you're saying is that they are losing, I'm gonna say it very specifically, they're losing money by not investing money to start a home-based business, whether
Correct.
they ever make sales or not.
Correct. Yes.
Right. And so that's the main point I want people to get is, and again, you can be like we're saying, you can be terrible at sales, or you can hate sales, or, there are people that most likely because they were either approached the wrong way or they were hyped up, and made, someone made them promises or whatever. There are definitely people out there that don't like network marketing. Like I get it. If you were approached wrong or promised things or whatever, then I get it. But even if you hated it but you joined one, you would literally make, and again, I'm not part of one. I'm not pushing, we coach network marketers, but I'm not part of one. I'm not here to sell you one. But even if you hated it, just you investing the money to start a home-based business, you would keep more money into your household. And you're saying to the tune of, sounded like $400 to $700 or $400 to $600 a month.
It's $400 to $700 a month, roughly I see $4,000 to $7,000 a year typically. And I mean, that's why I say you would be brain dead not to own a home-based business. It is the last true deduction that you're entitled to. And one of the things that so many people don't comprehend is they don't understand the difference between an itemized deduction and a business expense. And so I think I want to be very clear on that. So many people think, well, I've got my mortgage interest or I don't have enough to itemize. That's not the same thing. We're not talking about the same thing here. What we're talking about are true business expenses. They go dollar for dollar against any income that you make. So if you are a W-2 employee, and let's say, and I have the world's worst time with spouses calling and saying, my wife lost money. Your wife lost money on paper and saved you money in taxes. Let me break it down for you. If you made $50,000 a year, and one of you did, one household, and then the spouse made $10,000 a year in a network marketing business, but showed $20,000 worth of tax deductions, of which she was already going to spend that money anyway. It was already money like, cell phone, internet, all those good things. Well, that income, the loss that she has, not only did she not have to pay taxes on the $10,000 that she made, but she also has access to another $10,000 worth of a loss on paper that offsets against the $50,000 worth of income from the W-2. And now you're bringing home more money because your taxable income just decreased. And so 96% of Americans don't get the benefit of any itemized deductions, but business expenses, however, have nothing to do with that. They are 100% dollar for dollar against any income that you have.
Got it. So we've actually answered this, but I have a lot of people asking the same question. And it's people, they're very specifically saying that they were told you have to be profitable at some point in your business or the government considers it a hobby.
So yes, so we have talked about it, but that's a myth. And what I want you to understand is the government wants you to attempt to earn an income. So if we're at a prime time for me to explain that outside of home-based business, I can tell you that it may take 5 years before Wells Fargo becomes profitable again. It may take 5 years before the auto industry becomes profitable again. They're all
I mean, it was
attempts.
like 20 years for Amazon. I mean, the first 20 years of Amazon, and then now they're back in the red because they
Right,
made
exactly.
investments.
So you know what Congress wants you to
So
do.
if someone, let me just very
Yep,
clearly for people asking. So if someone is on here, they've been in business for 10 years, they have never made one sale. Okay, they've never made a sale ever, never made a profit, but they've attempted every year, every week. They're attempting. They're just really not great at this thing. They're still working on their skill sets. But in 10 years, they have not made a dime. Are you saying that every year of that they could have wrote off deductions?
they could. And so the only difference is after 3 years, the burden of proof lies on the taxpayer to prove that it's not a hobby. So if you can prove that you're having
Your
conversations with
attempts.
people, right? You can prove you're going to
So you're
events.
saying the first 3 years you don't even have to prove it.
Right. The first 3 years, the burden of proof is on the auditor to prove that it is a hobby. And then it shifts on to the taxpayer after 3 years. So, and when you understand that, it's like, okay, let's look at the big picture. Does it make sense for the big guys? The same tax laws apply to you. So if it makes sense for them, if they're allowed to take deductions for 10 years, so are you. They just want you to be attempting to earn an income so that you're attempting to boost the economy so that one day you might hire some employees to work for you and take people off of unemployment line.
So, I mean, that's awesome. That's a very, very good distinction. So I hope that answers the question because we're getting that a lot. So let's say, first 3 years in business, you literally have your feet kicked up on the desk. You have, and the accountant says, well, where's your like proof and stuff? And you're like, they, right. It's year 4. You better have some documentation if you're asked. Is that right?
Yes. And I mean, if you do get audited, you need to have the proof. You need to have the
In
document.
the 3 years or after the 3 years or both?
Well, so what happens is you need to have it. Okay. I mean, and the more proof you have, the better. But if you don't have it, the burden of proof is on the auditor to say, okay, you're not treating this like a business. This is now a hobby, and here's why.
Okay.
That makes
Got
sense.
it. Got it. So in the first 3 years, like they would have to spend money to send the auditor to work your home business, right? I think an unlikely scenario, but that they would have to like do detective work to find out that you weren't doing it as a business. But from there on, it's like, hey, let's see your journals, let's see your records, let's see, right? And so what is the cutoff of if you have the proof? Hey, look, guys, we have different. Of course, I'm not going to find it, of course, but we have different journals, right? We have 90-day journals. They look like this. So if you had 90-day journals and you're like, look, here's the date. So how many years of being able to prove without making any money at all, how many years could you do that?
I mean, legitimately, you could do it forever, but it comes a time where it says, gosh, I mean, like, you got to start making $1. It would be great to make $1. And, the more you talk.
I realize it'd be great to make $1, but what does the IRS say? I mean, I'm not saying make this a life goal,
Right.
A life goal to never make money.
Right.
Like that's not the goal. But like if we're 20 years in and you have never made a dime ever, is that when they're like, okay, enough, buddy?
There is nothing in the tax code that talks about that. It is really based upon your attempt and your intent to earn an income. So if you intend to get into business to make money, you're in business. Okay.
Yeah.
If you attempt to earn an income, then now you have the availability of tax deduction. So as long as you're doing that, whether you're successful or not, is not really in the tax code. It's just those two things are super imperative, the intent and attempt.
Got it. Got it. I hope that is very, very clear. Okay. I hope it's very clear. All right. I want to take a look. We'll see. Thank you so much. And by the way, Courtney has an amazing book. Check it out, higdongroup.com/taxes. That's right on Amazon, higdongroup.com/taxes. And if someone's on here and wants a, if it didn't freeze. If someone's on here and wanted to connect with you, maybe they even want to book a call with you or whatever and go over their stuff. How do they do that?
You can go to my website. It's otbtax.com.
Okay.
And you'll reach out. I don't know how you want to work this, but I'd love to give them a link to book a $99 tax strategy session. Maybe we just
Go
put
for
that
it.
on
Go for it. You've added tons of value, so definitely give it to them.
So it is OTB Tax Cares. You can book me. OTB Tax Cares, CARES. youcanbook.me. So you can go there. We typically charge $149.
Okay.
This will be a $99 tax strategy session for you to help out.
So, all right, let me hit you with some questions here. What if our company doesn't take out our taxes?
If your company doesn't,
like I think they're saying they're like a W-2 employee maybe, and she's not taking anything out.
So, So if you're a W-2 employee and you don't have to pay taxes or you get a refund, most people don't realize that you can really free up money really easily by increasing your exemptions or deductions on your W-4. So if you are in a place where this is one way that you guys, it could really help you guys right now. If someone has lost their job, you can have your spouse could increase the deductions on his W-4 or her W-4 and bring home more money in their paycheck. So this is something I talk to people about all the time. If you're getting a refund every year, guys, you do realize you're giving the government a tax-free loan.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is getting your money back. Like you're just overpaying in taxes throughout the year, but suffering throughout the year and not being able to spend that money to start a business or,
which some people, if you're not great with money, like maybe that's a way for you to, save, like I know some people treat it that way. And I know business owners don't typically treat it that way, but I do know some people that it's like, well, I get this check back. And Natasha's saying, I need to find this tax code to share with my accountant because she's telling me different. Do you know the number or whatever, the craziness?
If I would tell you this, if your accountant doesn't understand what I'm saying, I'm not going to say it's their fault. What I want you to understand is that we're taught in college by government employees. All of the continuing education classes that we go to and that we're required to go to are taught by government employees, or they're approved by the government. So you have to understand there's no tax strategy in any sort of accounting class. There's no tax strategy in any continuing education class. I literally took a book called Lower Your Taxes Big Time by the name of a guy by the name of Sandy Botkin.
Yep.
Love Sandy Botkin. Yep. And so I took that book and I read it cover to cover, and I went through, there was all this tax code in it. The first chapter of the book was why you would be brain dead not to own a home-based business if you don't already own one. And that's where I learned all of the information that I'm teaching with you guys. He was an IRS attorney, a CPA. He worked and trained the IRS attorneys for over 5 years. And guys, I went back because the tax code was there, and I went back and read the tax code, and I realized that I was being led down a different path. And so I started looking for that information on my own and started reading books by people like Mark Culler, who, what your CPA isn't telling you. It's not that they're not telling you because
Right.
they don't.
It's not like they're like, ooh, I don't want to share that one.
Yeah,
They
they
just don't know.
just don't know.
Yeah. This is an interesting one for sure. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in this, especially because they got all these little employees running around. How do you hire your children? How does that work?
So your children have to be on, they have to be on payroll. So you have to move money to their account. You could get an account in their name. It could also have your name on it. And you would either transfer money, you can write a check and deposit it in their account. They have to do things for you. Like, so I have children. I have one daughter who's here right now. She's been doing tax returns with me for the last 2 weeks, and she does bookkeeping. I have one of my sons. He goes with me to almost every event. He's great. He's a great people person. So he's like my personal assistant when I'm at events. I have children who shred paper for us. They clean the pool because that's part of our employee benefits package, and so they do all kinds of things. Also marketing. If you have young children, you can use them as models, and you can help do marketing with them. Yeah, so you can pay them, and then so you put the money in their account. What they do with the money is irrelevant to you or to anything involving deductions, but you're entitled. That's actually called income shifting, and I learned about it in that book. I never even thought about it, but you can pay them $12,000 a year, and that $12,000 they don't have to pay taxes on it because that's the standard deduction in this country. Everybody's entitled to it. And then you don't have to pay taxes on it. If they're under the age of 18, there's no FICA taxes, there's no unemployment taxes, there's no state or federal taxes that have to be withheld. The only thing you have to do is show that you moved the money. You need to be able to show that they are working for you truly. And then you need to be able to file payroll tax returns every quarter. And those are naturally going to be zero, but you just have to file them. So
Right.
Super simple.
That's amazing. That's really, really cool. How cool is that? We got a lot of parents really excited about that. And so, yeah. Homemade this. Yeah, you gave several examples. Is there an age they have to be?
So it's been held up in tax court at age 7. That's precedent. But I literally took my 6-year-old last year and I was like, baby, I need you to hit this blue button. And she invited people. She just kept inviting people nonstop. So, hey, Ray, while we're doing this, I'm going to run and grab my charger so my computer doesn't die.
Uh-oh. Okay. All right, cool.
Talking, I'll be right back.
Okay. So Kathleen, the name of the book, actually, I'll tell you the link. It's higdongroup.com/taxes. I actually forget. I have it around here, but I can never find anything around here. Yep. I have to add my son to the payroll. I know, this is funny, right? This is funny. Yep. Yeah, lower your taxes. Great book. And then Courtney, of course, has her book as well. And
that could have been a catastrophe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to keep you, a couple more minutes here. I'm looking for. Yeah, and Danielle, if you are in Canada, I definitely get someone up there. You don't know Canada tax, right? I mean, I assume
so Canada is almost identical to the United States. The deductions are the same. So literally it's just the difference in how much money you pay in taxes. But we can connect you to an accountant up there as well if you need help with that.
Yeah. So Dale, I'm not sure of your question. You said, what's the problem with auto ship? Why is it a problem? I don't think that's a problem. I think that actually shows that you're actively attempting your business, right? I mean, you're consuming the product or the service or whatever. I actually think that's probably a good thing than a bad thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, you need to be on auto ship. You need to be attempting to earn income, going to events. I mean, because all that stuff just shows that you're in it to try to make money. The more that you expose yourself, just like Ray's group, for instance, being a part of that, shows that you're attempting to learn how to market. You know, the more you are involved and the more you're a part of it, the more money, not only the more money you're going to save, but you're also showing that you are attempting to earn income.
And Jonathan's asking, how do we claim our phone and electric bills? I assume it's a percentage. Like, how do you justify the percentage?
Yeah, so it's based on, you don't have to include closets and hallways. So you would take your percentage of your office or the area that you use for business purposes. So let's say it's 10 by 10, so it's 100 square feet. You had 1,000 square feet of your home. You would take 10% of the repairs and maintenance, of the property taxes, the utilities, the mortgage
Rent.
interest. You rent, you had rent instead of mortgage interest, and you can also depreciate the property as well. So huge.
What about phone and electric bills? Like, how does that work? Or is electric bills same?
Electric will be utilities. And then your phone, you can write off that. So depending upon, you know, if you're using your phone 90% for business purposes, you can write off 90%. You know,
Okay.
I write off 100% of everything.
Because you're just constantly, your home.
That's all I do.
Yeah, it's all you do, including right now.
That's all I do.
And so, so cool, man. This was amazing. I know that there's a ton of questions on here, but you know, I over 2,000 people hung with us this entire time. At one point, I think I saw 2,700 on, so that's amazing. And so thank you. Thanks for coming out here. Grab our book, higdongroup.com/taxes. And we just really appreciate you and appreciate you helping so many people. I really strongly encourage you, whether you want to build a home business empire or not, man, have a home-based business, right? Get those deductions, put some more money in your family's pocket. Why not? You know, open your mouth from time to time, but don't even care if people buy it or not, at least. Obviously, you may catch a bug. You may want to make extra money, and that's awesome. You know, I mean, for me, when I lost everything in the real estate crash, I'm very grateful that I found a network marketing company and that you know, helped me build a completely different career, and I'm very grateful for it. But grateful for you. Thank you, Courtney. Any last words? Any last bits of advice here?
One thing I'd love to share with you guys is just, you know, 6 years ago, I was broken completely, and I was broke and I was broken. And my parents actually got me involved in a network marketing company. And I'd sold my insurance agency and my accounting firm about 10 years ago. And the guy I sold it to quit paying me. And I lost everything. And I was $250,000 in debt. And I was lost, and I felt like a failure. And so I had a 5-year non-compete in the entire state of South Carolina. So I couldn't do anything really. So my parents got me involved in a network marketing company. I fell in love with the passion and the ability to help people not only, you know, save money, but also make money. And, you know, and that's actually the only reason I got involved in that, was to grow my accounting practice. So, you know, people don't necessarily sometimes see all of the sides and the aspects of the network marketing industry. And the reason why I'm passionate about it is because it gave me a fresh start. It gave me a group of people, and we literally went from $9,000 a year in accounting 6 years ago to, you know, now we're to a point where we're doing $250,000 a month. And
awesome.
No marketing other than just people sharing, you know, their experiences. And so, you know, if you're looking for a way to not only grow your business, to be a part of something bigger, you know, the personal growth and development that you get from this industry is unlike anything I've ever seen. And so, you know, I committed three years ago, I would never join another network marketing business, only because I had to share with the entire industry my mission, and that is to free up money to help people not only have more, be able to do more, be able to save more, but then be able to give more. And because of that, you know, we're now feeding 8,000 children a day, and through a nonprofit called Manna Relief. So just super excited about what we're doing together. And you know, don't give up, because life gets better from here.
Yeah. Amen. So cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you all for hanging with us all this time. I hope it was helpful to you, and feel free to grab her book. and rock on. So thank you so much. I'll reach out to you. We'll do some more cool stuff down the road. But thank you, everyone. Have an amazing, amazing night, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.